It lives inside. What it is to be revealed. It's probably the thing
Yes.
that's, if it's in the title in a horror film, it's a thing that kills people.
Yeah.
This is a film that it stars. I don't think I've ever seen any of these people in any other film, which is pretty common for horror films. And it's directed by Bishal Dutta, if I'm
Yeah.
pronouncing her name correctly, or his or her name correctly. So tell me about It Lives Inside.
So what drew me to this is that one of the star, Megan Suri, is in a Netflix show that I love called Never Have I Ever. And she's very charismatic in it. And it's a show that I love. I'm a fan of the teen high school comedy shows. And she's in that. She's great. And then she's also in a show called Poker Face, where she ages up just a little tiny bit in that. And she's playing a little bit of a more of adult person. And I think that she's a talented actress. She doesn't get much to do in terms of like her side roles, but the little that she does get to do, she's charismatic. So I'm excited to see her be in a horror film, because you get to be dramatic and then you also get to be scared, which can show a range of emotions. And she is of, I think, either Indian or Pakistani descent. And it seems like this film is playing on a monster or mythological monster within that culture, which I've never seen before, at least an American film. And it's coming from a director from that part of the world. So I'm excited to see what's different about it. We got Talk to Me this year. That was an Australian horror film, and there were things in that culturally that makes that movie stand apart from other horror films. And I'm hoping that happens with this film as well.
Is this one where she's playing someone who's new to the country? Is she playing an immigrant herself, or is she
I think
playing
she's first
someone?
generation and her family are immigrants.
Gotcha. Because that's always an interesting thing too. When casting, does someone can or should they use whatever native accent
Hmm.
was her family's accent in past generations, or if she is American, should she just use her American accent? That's sort of an interesting
Yeah.
representation question that sort of is always interesting to me, because I'm half Asian American. I'm half
Oh, okay.
Japanese, but I'm fourth generation American both sides, because I'm half Japanese, half Norwegian. So both sides of my family are equally likely to get in a boat, drink alcohol, and invade their neighbors. but both sides of my family have been in the country the same amount of time, so
Yeah.
so the idea of me trying to do a broken English Japanese American accent makes about as much sense as me doing a bad Norwegian accent.
Yeah.
So that's sort of an interesting thing of just demographics and casting and everything. And
I think that divide that you're talking about is part of the reason that enticed me about the film, because she's more American than the rest of her family. So they warn her about this thing and she's not believing it because, oh, it's just cultural myth or whatever. It's not real. It can't be. And she's not stupidly not paying. Well, it's not stupid. You don't know you're in a horror movie, so she's not paying attention till it comes. And the thing that's there seems like it's a parasite. And the way it is like when it's trying to feed on whoever it's trying to feed on. If you're trying to help that person, it kills you.
that's the great thing about horror films. If you can get a good, simple, just a really simple conceit, if you can get a simple killing device or a simple character trait, and have a good, talented storyteller, and because it's a horror film, it's very low budget, then the odds of it being a huge hit, if it's done right, so you can see sequels for the next 10 years, all made on a credit card, basically. So,
Yeah.
hell, just look at Megan in the last year. How popular Megan got just from a real life woman dressed up in a really bad doll costume, and
Yeah.
yet the storytelling was done well enough. And you're right. You're also talking about Talk to Me. That's
Or
another
even
one.
like Boogeyman that came out early this year.
Yeah,
Like that
very
movie
simple
did really, really
conceits.
well.
Yeah, yeah. So I could totally see how this, if this is a film that's done right, I could totally see it falling into that category of successful, generating. It lives inside 17, coming out in 2027. You were saying that she was in a Netflix show. What was the show that she was in?
Never Have I Ever.
Okay, nice. I
Yeah.
have I've heard of it, have not seen it, but yeah, that's a show that gets a lot of attention and seems to be very popular. So always fun to see these young stars emerging and trying to go out and get a star vehicle for themselves. Like you think back to Jennifer Lawrence. doing the was it the cabin at the other side of the road or whatever. Like she's even Jennifer Lawrence has done horror films in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting
like
to
a rite
see.
of passage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which in and of itself is a sort of a horror film in real life, just without the body count. But yeah, so hopefully this is a film that does well and that she can be a good star vehicle. Bigger and better things coming down the road.